We're going to take a look at the CNN panel talking about transgenders being banned. And, of course, the dishonest Republicans on the panel. Let's take a look at it.
Readiness. What do you say to that?
Well, there's no evidence of that. I think that, if that was the case, we've seen transgender people serving honorably for the last several years. And what has changed between now and then? They've just woken up to a new administration who has a different outlook on their ability to serve. So I think that, if you talk to people who are serving on active duty alongside transgender troops, they're not making these complaints. The leaders in the military are not making these complaints. These are political complaints about military service. So I think that all of the courts that have looked at this issue and looked at it, and said there's nothing in fact to back up what the government is claiming here. In fact, the judges challenged them to produce evidence, and they couldn't produce any evidence. So I think it's a really dark day for our country, where basically we're allowed to discriminate against a class of people.
Scott, if they can't produce evidence that this actually does, in fact, have an impact on readiness.
I'm going to jump in real quick here. Let's be honest. They're doing this to discriminate. They have no evidence. They don't have evidence of anything that they put out and said they're doing this for whatever reason they come up with. They never show evidence of any of it. Let's get back into the video.
Where basically we're allowed to discriminate against a class of people.
Scott, if they can't produce evidence that this actually does, in fact, have an impact on readiness, how is this not then just discrimination?
Well, it's the opinion of the commander-in-chief, who, according to our Constitution, is the head of the military. Regardless of anyone's opinion or anybody's, whatever side you're on, whether you're for it or against it, at some juncture, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, and he has and should have broad latitude to determine how the armed forces should be operated. And so I think that's what he's doing here. I think that's ultimately what the court said today, was that the president is the commander-in-chief, and we gotta respect that under our Constitution.
But to her point, if there's not a downside, and it's been going on for years now, and I'm just presenting your argument to them.
Yeah.
What is the argument other than Trump, Hegseth, just doesn't want trans people in the military?
Well, I think that the president, we'll ultimately see. I think that's why the court is allowing the president to move forward with this until it works itself through the court system. Maybe the Supreme Court will be the final arbiter here to say, yeah or nay, you can do this. But ultimately, I think the court is showcasing deference to the executive, saying that, look, you're the president, you're over the military. You do, for the most part, get to sort of dictate the standards of our military. And I don't really see how you can push back against that. Again, we'll see what happens in the court.
I can. I'm sorry, I can. What if the president wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want any black people in the military? Do we give deference to him on that? Well, no, wait a second. It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous because you're discriminating against a group of people in a very similar way. No,
I knew you were going to say that, but it's still
excuse me. Well, I'm glad you.
I'm going to leave this one alone today.
I'm curious. Why is it ridiculous? You just said the president should be the one who just decides.
Right.
So if he decides, he wakes up tomorrow and says, I think it's bad for morale, it's bad for cohesiveness, for there to be black people in the military, Latino people in the military, just in her hypothetical scenario, what's the difference between that and what we're seeing here?
Are you really going to go down this ridiculous road?
I'm sorry.
This is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous argument.
Well,
the president,
what they've already
the president
said
and Secretary of Secretary of Defense have an argument here. They believe that readiness and unit cohesion and overall operations of the military are impacted by this. That is their opinion, and that is the opinion of the commander-in-chief, who the Constitution gives broad latitude to run the armed forces. So that's their opinion. You're allowed to have one. You're allowed to have one. You're also allowed to run for president and become commander-in-chief yourself. But until you do, he's the commander-in-chief.
I have to just say, I didn't hear an answer to the hypothetical, right? I just didn't hear it.
Though.
The definition of discrimination, according to the American Psychological Association, discrimination is the unfair or prejudicial treatment of people or groups based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, or sexual orientation. What is the difference between, prohibiting certain groups, like transgender people, from serving versus, people based on their race or even their gender, frankly?
I personally think there's a difference, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, I will say...
Do you believe that race and Are you saying that the quality of race and the quality of
I'm just asking,
transgender are the same?
I'm just asking the question because I think you're making there's a distinction, but you're not explaining why.
No, I'm
See, it's all fine and dandy until they come for you. What they're doing right now, testing the lines, pushing the limits. That's what they've been doing. It's a slippery slope. It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous at all. They've gotten away with this. Hey, who knows what's next? Look at what they're doing with every other aspect of government and living in our country. They are pushing the limits. It won't be long before they come for you. Don't let these Republican apologists on CNN here and everywhere else mislead you. I'm sure that's what the Venezuelans and the Colombians and Cubans thought too. When the Republicans before the election were telling them, oh, it's not you. You'll be fine. We just want the illegals. Yeah, it did take them one day to start coming for them too. So, yeah, don't be misled. Because they can and probably will come for you. And that's just not people of color. You know, it's not black people, Latinos, or Asians. It may be different groups. So, just be aware. Don't be fooled by Republican apologists. So, that's pretty much all I have for you for today. Thanks for watching.